Hello, everyone. We are live now for the episode number 21 of Deep Point with GillyCricket. I hope there's been some time since people have been able to process the defeat in the WTC final. And as disappointing as it might be, I really can't say that it wasn't something that wasn't entirely unexpected, at least for someone like me who's, looked at this team closely and from a dispassionate point of view, if I'm being honest. So yeah, I mean, no surprises in there. There's someone like Chuchant who said that he will not be able to uh, attend this live stream, but he likes respects my analysis and would like to say that sometimes he feels that I might take the bit conservative route. Okay, noted. I have taken that. And he continues to say that's why I comment in a bit negative manner, but take them as a friendly banter. Maybe I'm just a bit emotional. Yeah, we don't take, we know that you don't intend any harm, and we don't take it that way. uh, and yeah, there's another comment that has come in: do not go near ideals or you will be disappointed. It's suitable for Rohit Kohli fans. Kohli discipline is changed. Rohit stat: your format spinners are in bench. Astra, and fully go on bowlers who are better than those. Okay, so uh, there's the people are already warmed up, and I don't think there needs to be any there needs to be any opening comments to warm up the audiences. It's there, uh, but yeah. So this episode is mostly going to be about discussing as to what all can India learn from this WTC and how can the transition take place. I know the immediate reaction is going to be, to be asking about, letting go of all four major stalwarts go in Rohit, Rahane, Virat Kohli, and Cheteshwar Pujara. But I don't think that transitions can work in that manner. I think it will have to start with Cheteshwar Pujara being let go, and Cheteshwar Pujara being let go, and then India can look at other players. But right now, I do feel that they really can't drop someone like a Rohit Sharma, who's also their captain, because they don't have a ready-made captain. There is going to be a section that is going to ask for Ajinkya Rahane to be made the Test captain, but I think we should hold on to that thought at least until the South Africa tour, because his biggest problem has been the the consistency in terms of runs. If he's consistent to till the South Africa tour, maybe we can make him the captain then. Ishan Khanna has come in and said that players have become bigger than the game, especially Kohli. My viewpoint is that a lot of players in Indian cricket circuit have always been bigger than the game, and it's not just a Kohli problem. It's more of an Indian cricket problem. More importantly, it's an Indian cricket fan problem, because when you have a legitimate criticism for any of the big stars, you have their fan groups, or blind fanboys or fangirls, attack like a mob online to those who end up criticizing these cricketers. So it's not a it, I definitely say that it's not a player related problem. If anyone thinks that any player has become bigger than the game, please blame the fans and maybe the broadcasters, and not necessarily the player themselves, because it is the fans who are there who want this story of a myth to be created around their favorite, right? And that is why we also see a lot of coverage being centered around a few particular individuals, which only talks about how great a so and so player is, and not really talk about the game. So it's not really a player problem, it's an Indian cricket problem. More importantly, it's an Indian cricket fan problem. People need to understand this. uh, Uvneet Singh says it's a problem with Indian cricket. We need a Messiah always. Now we are making Shubman after Sachin Kohli. Correct. I tend to agree. Uh, Vinesh Kotwani says, I think Rahane at 3, Virat and 4, and Gill at 5, Rohit and Abhimanyu Easwaran as openers. Yeah, I don't mind this for the West Indies too, because I don't think that Shubman Gill's position as an opener is something that is sustainable till the time he actually works on his issues versus the versus the incoming delivery. So yeah, I don't mind Gill being in the middle order right now. Why do you think this management is so scared of taking accountability? I don't think, again, I don't think it's a management issue. I think it's probably a board issue, because if you do not have a chief selector to begin with, or if you don't make it a practice of having press conferences after selection meetings, you allow the accountability to not be there. If you don't answer what is happening in the NCA, then you can also, I mean, to be fair, the coach and the captain still attend a few press conferences before and after a tour, but uh, what about the selectors? What about the higher offices in the BCCI? So it's not a management problem, it's a board problem. The accountability has to be from top to bottom, rather than, just being at the just being at the head of the captain or the coach. I'm not saying that they haven't made mistakes. Yes, they have, but the reality is that it's again not a problem which is created by them. You don't have accountability at the board level to begin with. Parnavanand says you must have heard about Gautam's comment that some players remain underrated, etc. In response to why don't we win ICC trophy? My question is, fans on the outside do that. Surely the TM values small contributions more. Yes, I mean, again, it then and then he says, then and he continues, then how does it affect the result, and how does it answer us not winning the ICC trophy? Precisely that question, the answer that Gautam Gambhir gave had nothing to do with the question. uh, India not winning an ICC trophy, if you look at it from a dispassionate point of view, you will find a reason for each and every instance, starting from 2014 World T20 to the 2023 World Test Championship. If you want, I can do that. I can go back, from the most recent manner. If you talk about the WTC 2023, this, India were never going to be the favorites going into the finals, and with Pants and Bumrah's injury, it became even more tougher. And they made the mistake of, choosing the wrong 11. I felt Ashwin should have been there, and they chose to carry this batting lineup because they did not want to test a lot of batters that they could have tried. So they were never the better team in these conditions. I know today, in today's times, it's fashionable to use the term choke, but it wasn't a joke. And if we go back to the 2022 World T20, again, England were the better side in conditions. Probably India had a better chance if they were playing England at Brisbane or at Melbourne or Perth, but not in Adelaide, where the ball was not going to swing in the second innings, as India found out against Bangladesh. So again, they lost to a better team. 2021 World T20 was a case where India were genuinely unlucky with not winning the toss. Because we all of us saw how that World Cup happened and how that World Cup progressed. That World Cup was about winning the toss and winning the game. So there are three points that I've given straight away for three tournaments. 2021 World Test Championship, again, no one can argue against the fact that New Zealand, in those conditions in Southampton, were the better team uh, on that day or for those conditions. And then India committed harakiri on the final day by trying to go for the win. They could have easily batted out a draw. That is where, the batter should be held responsible. But again, to say that New Zealand were not the better team in those conditions is incorrect. They also won the toss, so that made them even stronger in those conditions. So there's that. I think of all the matches or of all the knockout games that India have lost, the only one where, or probably the two games which should hurt them, is one, the 2019 semi-final in the World Cup, because I felt they were ahead at the halfway stage, and 240 is something that they should have chased. And their lack of preparation in creating a number four is something that hurt them. And despite that, they could have won that game had they got their batting order right. That is one. And the other is the 2017 Champions Trophy final, where they just didn't turn up, because just a few days ago they had beaten Pakistan by 120 plus runs. So maybe some other day they would have beaten Pakistan, but on that day that wasn't to be. 2015 World Cup, they definitely overperformed. 2016 uh, T20 World Cup, Indian batting was only about one man. 2014 World Cup, again, Sri Lanka bowled probably what is the best death bowling that I have seen in T20 cricket, and you have to give it to Sri Lanka for winning on that day. So People need to understand that what media says and everything, or what Gautam Gambhir said about you know uh, uh, about media acting as a PR is something that really doesn't answer that question of not winning an ICC trophy. There's a process to it. There are reasons to it. You need to look at these things dispassionately to try and understand. I mean, that is something that Gautam Gambhir just wanted to say for the sake of it, and he said it, but it didn't really answer that question. AK says, don't think the management will directly put Gill to 5 as Rahane is back and Iyer is also there. Should bat at 3, just like England gave Oli Pope at 3 and Jaswal Rahul to open with Rohit. What say? I don't think Shreyas Iyer is back, so we really don't know. So yeah, we'll have to see the fitness levels of everyone and then see probably how it goes. Chirag Singhal says Test cricket under Virat Kohli captaincy was something else. That time they just wanted to take captaincy away from Kohli. Otherwise, everybody knows Virat Kohli as a leader has changed Test cricket. But he wasn't It's not that Virat Kohli did not make mistakes as a Test captain. There was a reason why he fielded some different 11s in 34 consecutive Test matches. And if you look at the 2022 South Africa tour, India lost the Cape Town Test under his captaincy. So, what you also need to understand and realize, and I'm tired of repeating this, that results aren't directly related to captaincy. In this Test match, India could have had anyone else as a captain, but Indian bowling wasn't going to improve. The mistake that Rohit did was probably not choosing to bat and then not playing Ashwin. But there is no guarantee that despite doing that, India would have won, because in these conditions, given the Australian bowling attack, given the Indian batting and the Indian bowling attack, Australia were always going to start as favorites. And the result that came was in line with the respective strengths and form of both the teams. So people need to understand this. Yes, Virat Kohli was a better Test captain, but there's nothing to say that under his captaincy India would have won this World Test Championship, because last time around it was under his captaincy that India lost, right? When India could have easily shared that trophy. So people need to understand these few things, closely, and not just look for scapegoats. Dada, Dravid, and Sharma were apparently touted as solution to Indian cricket problems, but we have actually gone downwards in the last 2 years. Yes, but see, this is what I say, that people don't need to buy everything just on the basis of the uh, respective images of individuals. Rohit, the captain with Mumbai Indians, was a different entity altogether because of the team that he had at his disposal, because of the setup he was a captain in. To think that, okay, just because he's won 5 titles with them, he will change everything that is happening in Indian cricket, was always clutching at straws and looking at captaincy as like some kind of a magic wand, and it doesn't work that way. People need to understand that. Vinesh Kotwani says, Paji, don't mind, and I'm not defending Rohit and Kohli here. But whenever India lost in ICC tournament, all blame goes to Rohit and Virat, and I know they are experienced, but this is wrong to blame them. Uh, it's funny because a lot of these blame games also happen between their fan groups. Fanboys of Rohit will attack Virat for not turning up. Fanboys of Virat will attack Rohit that under his captaincy everything has gone wrong. When the truth lies somewhere in between. And I said this yesterday when we were reviewing the WTC final, that what you also have to try and understand with this management is that they've been unlucky in terms of the injuries that they've had. They did not have Bumrah in the World T20. They did not have Jadeja there. They did not have Pant here. They did not have Shreyas. They did not have KL Rahul. So they've been unlucky with injuries, but at the same time, they have committed a few mistakes and made things tougher for them. So that is what people need to understand. The problem is, after every loss, we want to find a scapegoat. The match ka mujring mentality hasn't left us, and that is why we are always looking to find one individual to blame the result on, rather than looking inwards and looking at systematic changes. So that should be the need of the hour, and not really finding you know crucifying one individual or the other. I've read takes on Twitter where people are blaming Vikram Rathore for the runs not being made by the top order, but at the same time people don't realize that under Vikram Rathore the lower order has improved their batting. So is it really fair to blame him? I don't think so. Teju says, Paji, with Bumrah uncertainty on playing test, who will be our bowlers in overseas and who can we groom along with current bowlers? I think someone like Nathkat needs to get more game time. Probably Mukesh Kumar will come into the squad now. He should get some game time. India need to track Shardul's improvement with the ball as well and see how he can become more of that bowler who can actually bowl tightly in conditions where nothing is happening. So India need to look at these bowlers and see how they develop, and yeah, then maybe track the fitnesses and see, because right now I think they only have Mukesh Kumar and Nathkat as options to look forward to, and then see how they develop. Don't know when Prasidh Krishna is going to come back. There is Arshdeep Singh who's playing county cricket, and they should again track his progress in county and see what he's doing well or what he's not doing well, and then probably get him into the test scheme of things as well. Coming statement about comparing WTC final to Olympics is flawed given whole tournament is played as bilaterals over course of 2 years. Yes, I tend to agree, but yeah, I mean, now that they've won, they're allowed to say what they want to say, and unfortunately, whatever Rohit says, even if it makes sense, it would be looked as an excuse because he's lost. So this is how things work, unfortunately. But yeah, I agree. The thing that he said about Olympics was slightly flawed. Yes, but the in a nutshell, what he wanted to say was that a lot of tournaments have only one final and not a best of three finals. So and I think he wanted to convey with that. Probably did not pick the right example, but right now it doesn't matter. Pakistan has better bowling than us in ODIs. We don't know our 3-4 bowler for ODIs. Still same mistake. No left arm groomed. Disaster loading. Here's the problem. When you want to uh, groom players, you also have to be okay with losing a few games. And regardless of whatever Indian fans might say about not not caring about bilaterals, they care about bilaterals. That is why they start losing their heads over any bilateral loss. So yes, it's not happened. Let's hope it can happen. And before I take the next question, I just want to request all those of you who are watching it right now, please press the like button. If you like the content that we produce at cricket.com, please press the subscribe button and share it with your friends who you think are cricket fanatics. Because you can be rest assured that one thing that we'll always try and do is give you as much quality cricket analysis based on numbers, based on facts, and not on the basis of biasness or trying to conjure up any gossip or controversy. And while we are passionate about cricket, what we try and make sure is that when we are talking about the game and when we are analyzing the game, we are not being reactive. So on that note, I'll just request all of you to please press the like button once again. Thank you so much. uh, Fazal Afsal says KL Rahul slash Ashwin for Test captain. Fazal, right now, KL Rahul, I'm not sure can hold his spot in the Test team. And the same can be said about Ashwin overseas, because the Indian management doesn't think that he can play all the games in overseas Test conditions. So I don't know how they can be made the captains. Rohit didn't even said that he took the wrong call on the toss. Didn't even mention that they were completely wrong thoughts. Both the captains actually wanted to bowl first, so yeah, probably that tells you why it wasn't necessarily that wrong a call. And the possibility is that had India batted, they could have also been three down or four down in the first session itself. Given how the Indian batters have batted in recent times, and given how accurate Cummings and Boland have were in the Test match, and have been otherwise as well. So maybe I don't mind the decision to bowl first, given the frailties of Indian batting lineup. But the issue was that they did not select the correct 11. And Muhammad Shami was a huge disappointment in terms of his length. He kept beating the bat, but he wasn't full enough to get the edge. And every time he pitched it full, he got 4 wickets in this Test match, all due to pitching it full. So that tells you something. Kuldeep Sherion is asking, do you see KL Rahul back in test matches? He dropped in BGT. Could he come back in team without any form of red ball cricket? He was dropped from the 11, but he was still a part of the squad. So yeah, he might just come back into the squad once again. I don't know. Your openers for West Indies T20 series. T20 series, okay. For the T20 series, it has to be Shubman Gill and Yashasvi Jaiswal. Shubham Sharma says post 2013, now India has lost ICC knockout against West Indies, Australia, England, Pakistan, New Zealand, Sri Lanka. Terrific record. South Africa left only. Yeah, maybe they can. On a lighter note, who knows? Later in the World Cup, South Africa could be the one knocking out India, and then maybe the choking jokes and the choking comments can go to the next level. Who knows? But for the sake of Indian cricket, let's hope it doesn't happen. Even though I like South Africa as a cricket team and I think they also deserve their moment in the sun, I just hope that it's the time that India win it. What do you think about separate coaches for white ball and red ball cricket going forward? I don't mind that given the amount of cricket that is happening, but there still has to be a central figure or central person of authority who decides which player plays which format when, because there are going to be a few players who might be common to both the setups, and in that case you'll have to decide which format is more important for them at that point of time. Though I think going forward, maybe in a year or two, we will not see someone who's good at red ball cricket playing white ball cricket and who's good at playing white ball cricket being good at red ball cricket, because now that gulf between formats is becoming bigger and bigger, and it's becoming difficult for players to be good at all three formats. There are hardly any remaining right now. Will Ashwin also get dropped blaming conditions in West Indies? I don't think so. In a West Indies, he actually has a good record. He also has a fifer, also has 100 also in West Indies. Baburov says, considering Pant will take another 2 years to get to a point where he captains the test side, do you think it's safe to have Rohit as captain for another 2 years considering his fitness? I think he should be the captain at least till the end of the South Africa tour. If Ajinkya Rahane does well uh, with the bat till that point of time, you can have him as captain, and him as a captain will also be a stopgap solution. But I don't think that it will take Pant 2 years to get to that point. So let's see. Samar Ahmed says, asks Paji, in hindsight, how has the decision of making Rohit the test captain instead of youngster panned out? Shouldn't we look for accountability for transition decisions from that era? That era is gone. You sacked the selectors that were there, the chief selectors. The chief selector was selected again, but he's also not there. And at this point of time, there is no chief selector in Indian cricket. I think it's been 6 months. So who would you ask accountability from? For me, and I'm not speaking in hindsight, for me, the decision to make Rohit the captain was a poor one, given his fitness and given the fact that it's difficult to be a three format captain. I felt that someone like Jasprit Bumrah and Ravichandran Ashwin could take up those duties, with Ashwin taking up those duties of being the captain in home conditions and Bumrah taking up those duties outside of India, where or in Sena countries where you are not comfortable in playing Ashwin. But it did not happen, and now with Bumrah not being fit and Ashwin not getting younger, I don't see that changing. I think Rohit will remain the captain at least till the end of this year. Why do we expect Shami to bowl fuller? As I've heard that some bowlers have natural length, and if they go away from that, they lose their line or pace. Shami was even bowling BOL in IPL 10-12 days before and has bowled that ball all his life. So that leads to one more question: how do some bowlers look so comfortable bowling all lengths? I presume most bowlers fall in the former than the latter. It's an excellent question. It's an outstanding question from Pranav Anand. Yes, most bowlers fall in that former category than the latter one, like Pranav said, where they are far more comfortable bowling the length that they've bowled there all their lives. And The only reason we expect him to improve is because someone like Ishant Sharma showed that it can be changed. Because Ishant Sharma had a similar problem. He kept beating the bat but did not get the edge because he wasn't too full. So the reason why people expect Shami to bowl fuller is because that is what is going to get him wickets. And in the absence of Bumrah, he needed to step up and showcase that he could be the number one bowler or the leader of the attack. But Unfortunately, it turned out to be Siraj in this test match. So the expectation comes from the fact because you expect players to improve. It's the same expectation where people expect Virat to develop a back foot game and not always have that front foot press. That is something which actually leads to him having issues in Sena countries, especially in South Africa, or whenever there's a lot more bounce. So that is where the expectation comes from. Before I take the next question, I just want to reiterate to all those who have you watching. If you've not pressed the like button, please do that. If you've been enjoying this show, share it with your friends who you think are cricket fanatics or cricket followers and will enjoy this discussion. And at the same time, please subscribe to cricket.com and stay tuned for a lot more cricket content. Thank you. Okay, so Sahil Gupta is asking, who do you think should be groomed for the next captain, considering Pant is out for a while? I don't know. You'll have to see who's someone who can hold on to his position in the 11. Right now, amongst the batters outside of Rohit, no one else can. And you have a lot of players on the wrong side of 30s. Even Jadeja is 34 and Ashwin's 36. So I don't know. You'll have to wait and see. Siraj is too emotional. He still needs to work on his bowling. So at this point of time, I don't know. AK says Kohli should give out. I mean, I think he means give up. Should give up one format, that is T20, in order to have longevity in Test format, improve his Test performances so that he can finish Test career on a high. That is something completely on him. But let's hope that he can improve his Test match batting. Very good. Uh, every series under WTC there are no experiments being done. So do you think adding test series which are not under WTC, like England versus New Zealand, instead of so many, and also A series for grooming? Uh, so I don't think there is time for adding a test series which is outside the ambit of WTC, at least for India. Yes, A series, A tours can improve, can improve it, can increase in number, and that can give you some idea about who your next test players could be. I agree to that. Pranav Anand says Paji blaming Vikram Rathore is still more logical than blaming Anushka. All people will just try to find something which can provide them consolation. Doesn't matter how logical. Yes, I completely agree. I mean, to blame Anushka or to blame Ritika and say that they are unlucky for India being in the stadium is just absolutely pathetic. It tells you that how idiotic fans can be, and how they're just looking at scapegoats and wanting people wanting to have a target, were wanting to have a person who they can target for the losses. It just is devoid of any logic whatsoever. And what people don't understand is that no one can stop anyone from being in the stadium. Who knows? Maybe those who've been watching the game are themselves an unlucky charm. If we have to take that logic or go down that road, so that's it's absolutely pathetic. It's the worst form of fan behavior that anyone can indulge into. 100% absolutely. And I don't think that these people who will blame the results on vags are anywhere remotely a cricket fan or a sports fan, because it's just disgusting behavior. It's absolutely pathetic, and it's devoid of any logic whatsoever. People saying that this loss is due to IPL, but really is due to hero culture. People in India treat players as demigod, and this makes them complacent as they know supporters will back them. Gafoor, I want to ask them, who makes the people? Like all of us make the people. So, I mean, to say that it's due to that, I'm not even sure if that is entirely correct. Uh, yeah, yes, hero culture is a problem, but to put the loss entirely down to that is not fair. Babu Rao says the match ka mujrim mentality comes from man of the match award, the highest run scorer. Correct. I agree with Babu Rao. Charan Reddy says, I believe that there is significant gap in quality between the Ranji Trophy and international test matches. To bridge this gap, it would be beneficial to introduce another level of competition. And I'm trying to look for his second comment, and the second comment is here. This could be achieved by organizing a new 5-day tournament with 4 to 5 teams. Such an initiative would ensure that quality batsmen face quality bowlers more regularly, leading to improvement. The Dilip Trophy happens where you have teams from 5 zones. There's the Irani Trophy that happens. See, uh, Test cricket is one format where you will never have ready-made products available. You will have to give the upcoming talents the best chances to succeed, and then give them that confidence that okay, you want to back them. Try and give players the debut in their home conditions, and give them the confidence that yes, from here on now they can quick in and score, and then maybe move forward. So that is something that people need to look at, and it's not necessary that even after having those best of starts that you will have a great career, or you'll take to test cricket or international cricket as fish to water, because we saw what happened with Prithvi Shaw, right? He played 2 test matches against West Indies, scored 100 in the first innings at Rajkot, and then scored a few runs in the second test match as well. But then he was out of his depth, and that can happen. So patience is the key. You need to identify talent, give them that confidence, and then back them accordingly. Your mission says, for all the talk of depth in Indian cricket, we have no idea if any of these domestic players can step into positions for Test cricket and to some extent in ODI cricket. ODI cricket, you do still have an idea. For Test cricket, you don't, because you've not really seen those players. And when I say you, I don't really mean the fans. I have also talked about the management. Pavan Kumar says India lack in left-right combo. That's the reason behind failure in knockout matches. What's your opinion? Left-right combo obviously helps. It really benefits the team. It allows the left-handers a greater advantage of scoring runs. But again, to pin down the loss completely on that left-hand right-hand combination isn't ideal. When India lost to Pakistan in that 2017 Champions Trophy final, India had two left-handers in Shikhar Dhawan and Yuvraj Singh in the top five, but they still lost, right? They had Shikhar Dhawan. No, Shikhar Dhawan was dropped for the semi-final, but they had, and again he was dropped in the dropped in the 2014 knockouts as well, but he was dropped for a reason. So you can have, it's always advantageous to have a left hand right hand combination, but will it always give a result is something that you can't really bank upon. At the end of the day, you have to play quality cricket, and that is what will give you results. People are worried about Virat's white ball form, but the real problem is his red ball game, average sliding down from a long time, or it would. I'm not sure if it was Australia he was out of the team, because Australia have also carried David Warner, but yes, his red ball game is a real concern, because it's been, I think, 36 innings since he scored an 100 outside India, 32 outside Asia, because and he's only scored 750s in those innings. Faizad Fires S says Rahane scoring runs at one-off games is going to have repercussions. The transition will keep getting delayed. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I wasn't in favor of having Rahane in the WTC final for this reason alone. But again, right now, you'll have to give him time. You'll have to take him to West Indies, because the last time India went to West Indies, he was the best batter along with Hanuma Vihari. So it is what it is. Rajat Zabde says, why don't they trust Sarfraz Khan? There are talks of Jaiswal, even Ruturaj, but no one is talking about Khan. Has his performance against pace bowling affected his case? I don't know, but yes, I mean, if someone's averaging 80 in your domestic tournament, he deserves to be at least in the squad, and you need to look at him in the nets. That is something that I know. Maybe he gets a few chances and then he doesn't do well, you can drop him, okay, but you need to give that player some chances. And I don't think he was as bad as what people are making out in the IPL against pace. I mean, he struggled against Mark Wood, but who didn't? uh, Mitchell Marsh, who's supposed to be a pace hitter, was out to the first delivery bowled by Mark Wood, and so was Prithvi Shaw. And while Sarfaraz did not have a great IPL, he did play a very good. He did play a few good drives and shots against paces. There was this shot that he played on the up over covers, or actually between covers and mid off to Marco Jansen, and that was a proper test match shot. So yeah, they need to look at him without a doubt. I don't understand why they haven't. Pavesh RS says India's weakness is 3-4-5. The solidity of Smith, Labu, and Head made the difference. I won't blame the openers as recently they were able to negate the new ball and considerably and had a 50 to 100 run partnership. Yes, 3-4-5 have been a problem without, and there's no hiding that fact altogether. Cricket says every time I see Shami, he looks like a newcomer. Uh, I don't know what to say about this, but yes, he's been disappointing. Rinku Mehra says, Paji, what do you say about reported World Cup draft? India versus Oz at Chapok, versus England at Aikana, versus New Zealand at Dharamshala, and versus SA at Kolkata against. Yeah, well, these venues, if they turn out to, if the matches go ahead at these venues, it's not going to be easy to beat these teams at these particular venues. I agree. Mehul Sangani says, I think we did well to take the game to the fifth day. Our first innings bowling wasn't up to the mark. Yes, but I don't think that's enough. Taking the game to the fifth day isn't enough. You still lost by 200 runs. Mehul Sangani says, regarding the batting in second innings, Rohit mentioned that they wanted to go out there and play shots, but they should have been a little more selective. Probably yes, I agree. And it's a request to those who are watching, please don't spam the comment section with your comments. I will take your comments one by one. Have some patience, do not ask the same question again. I will have to you know take that right away from you for 5 minutes, so please. Yeah, again, I don't know really which question to take right now because there are so many repeated questions. Raja Human says, "What is the problem if Ashwin should be captain experience?" I have no problem, but like I said, I don't think the management uh, sees him to be a lock when they play against South Africa in the 11. So how do you make him the captain then? Gafur Gisela says, "Paji, genuine question: Can't big names Rohit, Virat, and Pujara be shown the door? I mean, are they above our country?" Uh, See, here's the thing. Uh, I think Pujara will be shown the door, but Rohit and Virat aren't in the same league as Pujara. In fact, I don't think the league of Rohit and Virat is also the same. Virat clearly has more credit in the bank, and a lot of selections or calls in Indian cricket are reactive, owing to the pressure that is created on the outside, regardless of what anyone says, because we've seen how that has happened and how that has worked out. So, and also, I don't think it would be fair to straight away go to West Indies by dropping all four of Pujara, Rahane, Rohit, and Virat, because West Indies has not been an easy place to bat in the recent times with the new Dukes. It's not been easy to score. So you still, and if you say bring in four youngsters and India end up drawing the series, I'm not even talking about losing the series. Do you think people will have the patience to stick with the newcomers? They will then say, oh, let's just go back to the old guard. So you also have to realize and understand that people, regardless of what they say after a loss, they are also not patient enough in bilaterals or otherwise. They are not okay with losing a few games to build a team for the future. If that was the case, then you wouldn't have seen Rohit or Hardik as T20 captains choose the easiest 11 and choose to bowl after winning the toss in bilaterals. The only reason they did that is because they know that if they don't win bilaterals or if they don't win games, there will be outside pressure. You look at the 11s or you look at the tactics that Rohit employed after being handed over the captaincy after the 2021 World T20. He played India were going to play New Zealand. What did he do? Won the toss twice, chose to bowl first. Why? Because he wanted to secure wins. Hardik did the same thing because that's how Indian cricket works. That's how Indian fans work. People keep keep forgetting the harsh realities of sport in the country when they become passionate or when they become emotional after a loss. That is why a reality check is very, very important in terms of these things. Ravi Pandya says, do you think making Pant the captain will affect his aggressive style of batting, making him less free, or can we mold an aggressive team under him like Ben Stokes? There is no way to say this. I mean, people say that Pant lost his fearlessness when he became the captain for Delhi Capitals, but you look at his numbers in the 2022 IPL, he had an average of 30 at a striker of 151 without scoring a single 50. So that was not someone, who was not being aggressive. So I am not so sure that it would really affect his aggressive style of batting. What has affected Pant batting in T20s is his lack of shots on the offside, and his, I mean, not particularly lack of shots. It is also him wanting to hit everything towards the leg side. It's not that he doesn't have shots over cover. He plays them enough in ODI cricket or in Test cricket. It's just that he becomes too premeditated to go over the leg side. The only area where I think he has or he doesn't have enough shots is in the square region on the offside, but that is something that can be developed easily. It's not something which should be beyond a player like him, but that is for later. We need him to get fit first to play cricket. uh, can we mold an aggressive team under him like Ben Stokes? So to mold a team like that, you need to be okay with a few losses. And as long as people will not be okay with a few losses here and there, you can't mold a team like that. Because when you play aggressive cricket like that, which can also border on being reckless, you will lose a few games. But I don't think people will be okay with losing even a single game. Why have they not rewarded Ashwin's good performance in Sena in last 5 years? Except South Africa seems they already moved from him in Sena. Is it right? Actually, in South Africa also he played because Ravindra Jadeja was injured. I don't know, but I don't think in Australia that was the case. I think in Australia they figured out that they needed Ashwin, and him doing well in the first test allowed him to play and keep his spot in the second test. Also, a few injuries did not help because Jadeja wasn't fit in the first test. So when Jadeja wasn't fit, it became a straightforward choice to play Ashwin, and he did well. So they stuck with him in the second test. Ujjwal Mulchandani says, "Don't you think people should? I think he means people should stop treating players bigger than the sport. The star culture is spoiling the game. Star culture is spoiling the country. Forget the game. It's, uh, you know, worshipping mortals is something that is an insult to human intelligence, regardless of what field you do it in. It shouldn't happen, but we don't live an ideal world. We don't live in an ideal world. Unfortunately, there's no way to stop it from happening." Mayur Madiwalar says, saw the post-match interview of Ganguly asking Dravid about the dropped averages of India's top order, to which Dravid's reply was that was not just Indians, everyone average has dropped. Is that true? It is true. Batting has become tougher, but the averages have dropped for Indian batters far more than they have for others. Rahul Mahapatra asks, Paji, do you see Jaiswal in test format in West Indies in place of Pujara? And Paji, I know Kohli का performance in test थोड़ा deep आया है, but I believe वो जल्दी come back करेगा. Let's hope so. Will Jaiswal open in test format? Is a possibility, but I'm not so sure. I'm not sure about it. It's a possibility, but I can't say it for 100%. Sahil Gupta says, I am actually sad seeing the fans being divided in IPL teams and not actually supporting Team India. Individual fan worshipping is really bad for Team India. I tend to agree. But Sahil, you have to make sure that you don't send the same comment again and again, please. Once again, because this is a reminder, it's a reminder once again for all of you who are watching. If you've not pressed the like button, please do it for this episode. If you're enjoying this, please ask your friends to join in and share it with those who you know are cricket fanatics. And please subscribe to the cricket.com channel because we provide a lot of cricketing content, and which is not really based on reactions after a loss, but it is a dispassionate breakdown of what actually happened in the game on the basis of numbers as well as statistics and a lot of other things. Ujjwal Mulchandani says players' wars are just adding fuel to fire. When we need to unite as Indian fans, people start throwing stats around. Until this stops, you will not be able to constructively criticize the Indian cricket team. I agree. Has baseball phenomenon had an effect on that WTC final pitch? Good batting conditions throughout? No, it didn't. I'm going through other comments and seeing if there can be. Saket Patel asks Gurkirat thoughts on Yashasvi Jaiswal as a long-term opener. Technically very sound and has probably the best off-stump awareness amongst the youngsters as a country. He deserves his chance, and let's see how he goes from there. But he deserves his chance for sure. Uh, KV says many ex-cricketers and few journalists will go mad when Shami bowls one or two pitches, but don't criticize his game when he doesn't do well. Because to criticize his game, you need to look at the game closely, and a lot of ex-creators and journalists don't do that. They have their own set agendas, and they are happy to talk about those cliches which are valid probably a decade or two ago, and they want to continue talking about it. So, and because there is no accountability in this field as well, there's no accountability in terms of asking questions to those who are also talking about the game. A lot of ex-creators and journalists actually see what is the most common talked about excuse or the point, and then they try and blame it on that. I mean, blaming IPL for this is comes under that banner itself. Muhammad Tapu says, did India let go Ishan Sharma a bit early? There is definitely 1 year there in him. Should have him for his controlled bowling. I think they let him go because his fitness was a suspect. If he can showcase that he can bowl long spells once again, I think he'll be back in the Indian team. But he has to show that he can bowl 20 overs in a day, which I don't know, which I don't think right now is the case with him. Harshit Bansal says, Paji, we have clearly struggled in taking 4 wickets in last 4 tests in Sena. Correct. What happened with Vihari and Bhuvi in Test? Bhuvi's not played any first class cricket post 2018 South Africa because he's had injuries to do with it, and I don't think he's going to come back. Vihari was dropped uh, before the before the one-off test in after no actually after the one-off test in England because the team felt that they wanted to yeah, he was dropped. He was dropped after the one-off test in England because they wanted to go back to Pujara and see how he does. I don't think he should have been dropped. Harshit Bansal is asking about any takes on the fact that India struggled to take wickets in last 4 tests in Sena. Yes, I mean that is why I'm saying blaming the batting alone for this WTC is unfair because uh, the 4 tests that India have lost, bowlers have to take the bigger blame in 3 of those. I mean, to be not able to defend 378 is something which is on the bowlers. To not being able to defend 240 in Johannesburg on that pitch is again on the bowlers. And in this test match as well, this was not a pitch where you concede 469 runs in the first innings. So yes, bowlers are to be blamed, and like I said, Mohammad Shami has to take some blame. Vinesh Kotwani says Nasir Hussain said in commentary. No, Nasir Hussain did not say this. He actually said that he's been misquoted, so it's not correct. I don't see KS in this team for the West Indies tour. Who are our test keepers? Kishan, Upendra Yadav. Upendra Yadav is not getting chances. Neither is Akshay Wadkar. One of them should. Ishan Kishan. I don't see Ishan Kishan as a good enough test keeper right now. If it was up to me, I'd probably give KS Bharat 2 more test matches in West Indies because I feel people need to understand that he's played 5 test matches against a competitive Australian team, which has probably been the best side of this WTC, and on difficult pitches. Even in India, when he played those test matches, those pitches were not easy to bat on. Given that Dravid's tenure comes to an end after the World Cup, we have a test series against South Africa and England. Do you think the new coach will try out new players, although they want to focus on getting results? The test series at versus England is at home, so maybe can try out players in that series. Versus South Africa, I don't see any funky experimentation happening. And more than the coach, it's also going to be down on the captain. How willing is the captain to take risks? Ravi Pandya is asking, is it time to let KS Bharat go now? I've already answered this. No, not right now. I'm looking at Saket Patel is asking me about how do you review Pant in test? Should he bat at 4 after he returns? No. If he is already an all-time great in test worldwide, let alone for India, also is looks like a Gilchrist regeneration of this era. Uh, I think he needs to get fit first, and before that, there can't be any talks of where he bats. He shouldn't be batting at number 4. 5 is best for him, and probably in England he bats at 6. Uh, All-time great on the basis of such a short career. I'm not so sure, but yes, if he resumes his career from where he left off, can definitely go down as an all-time great. Do you think Gill, Jaiswal, and Ruturaj can be tried as top three in ODIs? Not before the World Cup. Arshad Bansal says, do you think BCCI lacks foresight and talent preparation? We have no backs for players like Hardik Bumrah and Ashwin. MO left-handed batters are, yes, they do. They lack the foresight. Cricket fan says, Paji, do you think Sanju Samson will be included in T20 tour of West Indies? He should, but I don't know if he would be because he did not really set the stage on fire in the IPL, but he should be there. KV says selfless decisions of retiring after bad performances of Finch and Morgan are underappreciated in players like Pujara Rahane who are well below their league. Consider all formats, not considering it. See, retirement is a very personal choice. You also have to see that when Finch and Morgan retired, they had already won something. Finch retired after winning the World T20 for Australia as a captain, despite having not contributed much. Morgan retired after having won the ODI World Cup. So maybe these players are also playing to win some trophy and maybe then call it a day. So retirement is very personal. I don't think you can force it upon players. Harshit Bansal says your views on having a template towards test as a team like England is trying baseball and I'm guessing Australia is going for performance based selection. Uh, See, there should be a template, but India's template has to be that I think if they don't have four quality pacers outside Asia, they should stick to playing one all rounder in Ravindra Jadeja, one spinner in Ashwin, and then the three pacers. That is something that they should really explore and go down that route. And then when they play in India, they should do away with the horrible pitches that sometimes are served where anyone can become a spinner and batting is really a very difficult task because when you continue to play on such pitches where scoring a 30 is also an achievement, when you play on pitches where scoring a 70, 80 is also not an achievement, you don't have that appetite. You can't really make hay when the sun is shining when all you have seen is just rainfall or flooding all the time. So that is very important. I think now India need to get away from having those pitches and play on the kind of pitches that they did in the 2019 series versus South Africa, where pitches had anything and everything for each and every player involved, whether it was a spinner, pacer, or a batter. So yes, that is something that India should look to do. Ravi Pandya with a word of appreciation here. Loved your nuance analysis, Gurkira, especially about countries' expectations and how decisions are made of on the field. The fear of losing is there, which will stop us from taking too many risks. Thank you, Ravi. As a favor, I can only ask you to like this episode and subscribe to cricket.com and share it with your friends. Maybe put in a tweet or a Instagram story somewhere where you can tag me. My Instagram handle is GillyCricket and my Twitter handle is Gurkirat SK. Rajat Zamde is asking who are our next set of fast bowlers for under 25 for A2s, your picks. I'm not so sure. I'll have to see. This is something which I won't comment on because I really need to see who's there. Urban Agriculture is asking Rinku Singh in India versus West Indies 20 T20 series. I don't mind him. I don't mind seeing him. I actually don't mind that. That is a good suggestion. There's this one comment that had come in, and I want to take this about by Kuldeep Sharon, which is Paji. How do you see Bhaji comment on playing on good pitches in India so that bowlers and spinners have to work hard for wickets, and that will benefit for the batter too? This is something that I've just addressed because I had read this comment, but I was looking at something far more holistic so that I could answer a couple of questions in one go. Arjun Reddy says, will Ashwin consider in World Cup in place of Sundar as a finger spinner in Indian conditions? He could be if Sundar is not fit. Could be. Girish Tamhankar says, as there are lack of finishes, can someone like Rinku can be tried in ODI setup before the World Cup? Before the World Cup is too early, and in the ODI side, you do have the likes of Hardik, the likes of Jadeja, the likes of Akshar, and there's also going to be Samson and Sky around. So for the ODI World Cup, it could be too early, but in T20s, you can try him. Mayur Madiwalar's asking about prediction for Ashes, your key players. Uh, no predictions as such, but key players definitely from England are going to be Joe Root, Harry Brook, because number five has been one position in Test cricket in England where players have scored a lot of runs, whether it has been Daryl Mitchell or Harry Brook, or even in this Test Travis Head or Ajinkya Rahane. So number five is going to be an important position because Harry Brook is someone who, if he gets to bat in conditions which favor him, he can really take the game away. Why Root is important is because he will keep one end blocked and will make Australia, try a lot of things to get wickets at the other end. So Harry Brook and Joe Root from the batting side of things can never rule out Ben Stokes as a key player. The fourth important player that I feel would be very important is someone like Robinson, because against the left-handers with his fourth stump line and just moving the ball away, he would be the key versus Travis Head, Alex Carey, Usman Khwaja, David Warner. So and he really bowled well when India were there last time around. James Anderson will do what he does best, but someone like Robinson would also be the key. So I feel these 4 5 players will be the key for England. For Australia, can't look past Steve Smith as the most key player. Can't look past Pat Cummings. Boland is going to be someone who would be the key because he would need to stick to his lens, because how he reacts when England batters come after him would be very interesting to see. Uh, and I feel England will also take the attack on someone like Nathan Lyon. So how does he deal with it is going to be important. But I think uh, yes, like I said, Steve Smith, Steve Smith, Pat Cummings, Boland, they will be the key. Travis Head will also be very important because number five has been a position where runs have been scored by batters from across countries. So these four players, and who could be that fifth important player? I don't know, maybe Cameron Green, because he might have to do a lot of bowling uh, given how the conditions are. And if he can keep, as a fifth bowler, if he can keep it tight, then maybe it allows the other four bowlers to attack, and his batting is obviously important. So I feel these would be the five key players. Uh, BMK is asking, why don't we go for more attacking options like Kulcha, Akshar, Ashwin and Jad, who are defensive bowlers there? I mean, you can't have one type of bowlers. You need both. So that's about it. If you only have attacking options, and in fact, Kuldeep Yadav this IPL was a very good defensive bowler, not really an attacking bowler. So you need all kinds of options. You can't just have one type of spinners. Harshit Bansal says KL Rahul as a keeper in Test at least till Pant comes, or would you prefer giving Bharat an extended run? Uh, it depends upon what is the fitness of KL Rahul. If KL Rahul can sustain keeping in Test matches without having any issues, it's worth trying. Kavin Kumar says India should look to groom technically sound left-handed batters in Test cricket like Tilak Verma and Sai Sudarshan. I do feel that Sai Sudarshan is more technically correct, but these guys are young. They're 21, so probably, even at best you'd have to say that you'd have to give them 2 years at least before they get ready for Test cricket, I feel. But I like this suggestion from you, Kavin. It's a very good suggestion. Uh, Ijaz Ali says, Paji, all the talk we all are having, how much do you personally feel will be implemented? I am feeling someone is going to become an scapegoat and bigger concerns will not be addressed by BCCI. That would be classic BCCI. Could happen. Uh, so, yeah, I mean, see, the conversations that we have is for the betterment of our knowledge. It's also to, develop a space where we can, rant and talk about our own readings and feelings of the game. So yeah, the objective is to try and have genuine cricket conversations which are backed by logic, some data and some analysis. What may happen or may not happen is not in our control as fans, but yes, we can try and discuss solutions amongst ourselves and feel better about it, and yeah, enhance the knowledge of others around us. So that's about it. uh, what may or may not happen is not something in our hands. Sanjay Bharti Sarvanan says, "Do you think India will continue Thakur number eight spot bowling all rounder in the ODI in the coming ODI World Cup?" Yes, because I think on pitches where there is little help, India would probably play Shardul Thakur, and on pitches which are flat, they might play someone like Umran Malik. But yes, Shardul Thakur will be there for sure. अर्जुन सबकोटा सेइंग इंडिया चोक करती है पाकिस्तान जोक करती है हमेशा लव यू पाजी आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू कमेंट ऑन द फर्स्ट बिट बिकॉज या आई डोंट सी द सेंस इन इट बट thank you so much for your love, Arjun. Please subscribe to the channel and press the like button and ask others to also tune into the show. Harshit Bansal, injury subs in test all formats but test is to my knowledge all should be there without a doubt. Without a doubt, has to be there. And anyway, this was the last question that I had decided to take because I've been on this show for 1 hour, 2 minutes, and a little upwards of that. It's been great to answer all the questions that you've asked me, and I love the fact that all of you guys place that faith in me, where you feel that I can give some genuine answers with some logic that you're looking for, and yeah, no greater feeling than that. And on a closing note, I just want you to, you guys to like this video, subscribe to cricket.com, and keep tuning in to all of our shows, our videos, and send in your comments. And yeah, ask people to subscribe to cricket.com and follow them on all social media. You can follow me on Twitter on Gurkirat S Gill, and on Instagram it's GillyCricket. Thank you so much. I'll be there next time on the show very soon. Hopefully, I'll try to do it another episode in this week if there is something that is to talk about. But yeah, we'll talk about this very soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Good night.